climbing cows over here this morning. That one was about to slide off this rock a minute ago. I was hoping I would catch it, but apparently not. You know you're getting close to Yellowstone when the elk aren't even really concerned that much about us. I missed videotaping half the morning because I was smart enough to throw my phone into a creek when I was crossing it, and I then had to let it dry out, but it seems to be working now, luckily enough. So I'll try not to do that anymore. Silver's getting attacked by a train of ATVs here. But really the interesting thing in this is these mountains out in the distance. Kind of thought it would be flatter going in towards Dubios and towards Yellowstone, but I guess not. They're talking to him. They're gonna give him some free shit. They didn't offer me anything. For the first time in a while, there seems to be a real storm in front of us. Been a good amount of lightning and thunder, and the next stretch of trail is about 4 miles on a ridge line, so not looking forward to that. We're kind of feeling forced to move forward through this though, because we're on a little bit of a time crunch with our Yellowstone permits, which we already got. Getting them ahead of time isn't that normal. Usually people get them in Dubios, but we got them in Pinedale because we wanted to have better selection for sites. And don't get me wrong, I'm glad that the Park Service sets them aside to make it possible to through hike through the park, but they make it complicated in only a way that a federal bureaucracy could. Their system is set up in such a way that they have names for the sites and codes for the sites, and the maps that they provide on the National Park Service website have different names for the same sites, and the codes are completely random and arbitrary and mean nothing, at least that I can tell, for any sort of area or anything along those lines. And also the sites that they offer are all like 12 to 18 miles apart, which is just not a reasonable mileage for a through hiker, because that means we either have to go like a half day every day or multiple like 35-mile days, which is on the far end of what a lot of people would be comfortable doing, especially in a national park where they want to stop and see things. So it's just like, you guys couldn't find something like a few sites in the low 20s range apart from one another? Every single through hiker I've talked to has said that would be preferable. It just makes no sense. And some people might say not everybody can do low 20s mileage days day after day, which is true, but these permits are an odd kind of thing. They're set up outside of normal national park policy, specifically for through hiking, because they know it's impossible to really predict that far out. And with the weather window the way it is on the CDT, and the fact that we're 1,900 miles in at this point, if you can't maintain that mileage, you're probably not actually through hiking, which means those permits aren't really for those people anyways. So I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to me. For example, I just looked at the math, and for me to finish by mid-September, I have to be averaging about 24 miles a day. and that's without any breaks. With rest days, the number goes up, and obviously we have to do things like get laundry, get groceries and stuff, so it's really into the high 20s, if not near 30 in reality. It's the reason I'm always huffing and puffing in every video. It's the reason why Clover's not in half of them. We just can't really wait around. I can't wait for him, he can't wait for me. I can't catch my breath before trying to film a video. You just have to walk all day, every day. It's just kind of the nature of how a through hike on something like the CDT actually is. These wildfire areas are kind of boring in some ways, but right now it's really nice with all these wildflowers. It's just the time of year, and I guess this fire must have been pretty recently, within the last couple of years as well. Just the density of this, really striking. Been walking through this burned area for a few hours, and I just realized that I mentioned there being a storm coming in earlier, and I was worried about it, and now I'm glad, because I would have had a terrible time here if it were hot, and it's not hot at all. It's actually really nice. One of the few times I've actually enjoyed walking through a burned area. Just have to have bad weather, or bad weather. Up ahead of me here is Bumble, Sandbox, and the chairman, who I haven't seen since Grants, New Mexico, which is a long way. That mountain in the background is very imposing too, but I wish it wasn't so hazy here. It would show up a little bit better. Easier to see with the naked eye. It's really interesting on the CDT specifically because of all the alternates in Colorado and all these other places. People that you meet and run into all the time throughout New Mexico just kind of diverge there, and you kind of just lose contact with a lot of them. And then here, as we're getting into places like Yellowstone, it's pretty common that people's paces kind of align again, and then you run into each other again. Like, this is the second or third group of people in the last few days that I've run into that I haven't seen in like 1,000+ miles. It's a cool kind of community aspect, I guess. Somehow tonight I set up camp with the 3 others I mentioned a minute ago, but Clover didn't see it. So there's my tent. Their camp back there in the woods. Clover walked another 5 miles, and then I received a message from him saying he didn't see us. So I'll have to get up really early in the morning and try to catch him before we can get to the road. No big deal, but sucks for him. He's gonna have a lonely night. My escorts have arrived for me this morning. They're waiting for me to leave camp. I know I'm kind of dragging ass. Sorry guys, I'll be out there in a minute. It's a bit of a cold morning actually, and although I'm fine with it, I'm just wondering about how that's going to bode for the coming weeks going further north. But that aside, I think I understand why Clover didn't find us last night. The trail kind of just disappears all over the place around here, and I'm pretty sure he would have just missed a junction. Otherwise, he would have seen us because I was camped right on the side of the trail. But I'll run into him here later this morning. This is what I have to work with as far as the trail goes, though. Pretty easy to lose if you're not paying attention to grass patterns. And here he is, the belle of the ball. Clover, you want to give everybody your interpretation on what happened last night? Your periscope wasn't working or something?
My periscope. Well, the CDT is just sort of a spider web of trails, especially at certain points like yesterday. And I think I didn't see your camp because I must have been on a trail that was near the trail but not on it. Eventually went about 0.9 away and found
And you survived.
a lovely burn area.
You survived alone.
Yep, that's right. The bears didn't eat me.
Is that good? I don't know. We're on a boring road walk into town, and we decided to make it more interesting. Clover's gonna take the road the last 3 miles to the highway, and I'm gonna bushwhack down the side of this hill.
We did this once before in the Great Basin or somewhere down south, and we never put the results. I did end up making it there first.
It was a shorter section though. I think that I'm gonna be more successful this time. I think it's gonna be bad. I think it's gonna be unpleasant, but I will get there first. So we'll see. Clover's gonna continue over here towards Sublette Peak, and I'm taking the Pinnacles route because they're obviously superior.
You're not gonna have any views.
Yeah.
At all in there.
I'll see. We'll see what happens. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
We were on an alternate anyways, so it doesn't matter if I change it. And my thoughts on this are that road went so inefficiently down to the highway that there's no way I'm the first person who's done this. It saves like 3 miles. So even if it's a lot rougher, I bet you I'm still down there first. Plus, there's even a social trail here, at least for now, which is very easy. It's actually opened up into a meadow now, so I'm feeling a little bit better about this choice. A really gorgeous place, actually. Now all I have to do basically is cross this little creek, climb this little knoll, and push back through the woods, and I should be back on the road. Can I jump to that rock? Let's see. Wow. I made it without getting wet somehow. And on top of this other hill, it looks like it's all been logged, so really easy. I think Clover made the wrong decision. I made it to the road, but somehow 10 feet before getting here, I stepped into an invisible creek in those bushes and soaked up to my shins, but I'd take it still as a win because I'm at the highway. And our friend from the AT, St. Croix, is here to pick us up actually, which is awesome. And finally, Clover's reunited with St. Croix, who picked a fantastic spot to set his car up and wait, I have to say.